Love this time of year. Going into Thanksgiving. Playoffs up in the air. I'm obviously in a good mood again because I won again. 9-3, most points, first place. Again, just establishing ethos, so my words carry some value here. But in this league, we're in quite a fun situation, I would say, in that, the playoff spots are fairly up in the air and the bye spots are up in the air as well. It's not the craziest playoff picture I've seen, but there's a lot of hopeful teams. So let's go into what the situation currently is and what happened this past week, because there's a lot to be evaluated. So I will begin starting with the Dun Chains. We have a Dun Chain for Untouchables, and Untouchables is, again, a loser. But the person isn't a loser because 159 points is very solid. Unfortunately, it happened in a week where you went up against a Pain Train team that needed the win and played like it. And a lot of it was a little bit of luck. Jaden Daniels got a lot of luck at the end of that football game to get him those points that pushed him over the edge. He also got a huge game from Jordan Addison. You don't expect that every week. So that pushed him over the edge. Pain Train getting it from places that I'm not sure we could expect every week, although he has guys you could rely more on. Some of the guys you expected, like Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, not good weeks. But again, Jordan Addison picked up the slack. And, there's a team that's going to be getting T. Higgins back. So for Pain Train, who knows? Really just who knows is really the summary here. Obviously, if you lost here, you were basically done. You stay alive. For Untouchables, not much to say. I mean, obviously a very solid week, and you look at this team, and this was without CMC having a good week. You think this is a pretty solid team now. But as we said, it was just a little too late. If a new season started today, 100% anything's possible, but unfortunately it does not. Another game that a team that is a little bit of an outlier team was playing in was Team Chef Cesario getting a win to go to 8-4. Outlier in that this is going to be a bye team most likely, one of the better teams in the league, and my prediction all the way through for the title. And a lot of that was Saquon Barkley. 56.7 points is the reason he won this game. Going into Sunday night, would not have guessed this was going to be a winner, but a gigantic game from him and a very nice game from A.J. Brown. You go into that game and you get 82.7 out of these two guys, you're thinking to yourself, nice. Yes, I'm concerned about Deebo Samuel. Yes, I'm concerned with Anthony Richardson. But assuming Brock Purdy comes back healthy, you got Kamara coming back. Juwan Jennings might be a better start than Deebo moving forward. I don't know. Team Chefs are still driver's seat, I believe. Team the Banditos really could have used this win. Falling to 6-6 means you still have to think, are we going to make the playoffs? I said I love this team. I still think I love this team. 151 points is a very good week. Obviously, you want more out of Amon-Ra. Obviously, the Tillman start, a little bit questionable with that bad weather game going both Tillman and Njoku and Najee Harris in that game. I can't agree with, although I do agree with Najee. Can't fight you on Njoku. I think it could go either way. Chubb is a guy in the weather that makes sense more so as a start, but can't blame you. Chubb's been slow this season. And who are you going to start? Quinn Johnson, he gets you 0 points. So Team the Banditos, I still believe in being in the playoffs, and we'll look at the playoff picture after this, but I'm not overly concerned about that. El Grenas goes to 8-4, also looking like a potential bye team, currently in a bye spot in the 2 seed, winning 150-130 over We Went With Jared, essentially ending We Went With Jared's playoff hopes. Again, I thought they'd make a run this part of the season. Just did not happen. A decent week, 129 points, although Stevenson just not enough, and then Jefferson not showing up for you down the stretch. And that cost you because Jacoby Myers and Puka both did. If you would have told me Jefferson would be the guy who ended it for you, I would say it's unlikely. Are you mathematically eliminated? Absolutely not. Are you almost definitely not going to make the playoffs? Probably not. Probably not. But you have to keep in mind, this is a team that points for is still ahead of the Crucifier team that's a game ahead of him. With 2 wins, could get ahead of that Pain Train team, is ahead of the Dust and the Win team that's 6 straight. So I'm going to say We Went With Jared, not yet done. I'm not sold on saying it's over. So we'll see what happens with that team. El Grenas, though, the big win here to get into that 2nd seed. JT, a little bit concerning, but Gibbs continues to be fantastic. Cooper Kupp continues to be very solid. D-Hop proving value. Nico Collins is back. And Bucky Irving had a huge game. So I think ultimately you rely on the Bucks, and I think you're going to be rewarded for it. 8-4 and playing like it. Going to the next game, El Professor goes to 7-5. Massive win to basically secure a playoff spot, and maybe even you could fight for a bye here to beat an electric team that was one of those teams that was hanging on to a bye spot. Now in third, I believe, falls to 8-4. Electric, what happened there? Really bad week. Mixon had a bad week. The game script wasn't good. That's the concern with him. And in a Week 16 semifinal game where you play against the Chiefs, I believe, that's going to be a little concerning. I'm a little concerned as an owner of him. And really, no one showed up. I mean, no one showed up. You move forward. You're going to get Brees back. You're going to get James Cook back. You could get Amari, Drake London, Shakir. All those guys could get into your lineup. And then it's just a start-sit decision because I like McConkey still. But there's going to be some tough decisions to be made for this team. For Al Professor, obviously feeling very good. You get Tua and Achane having very big games. Your Dolphins investments look pretty good right now. And everyone had at least decent games outside of Laporta, and you expect more out of Laporta. Marvin Harrison was an inch away from a touchdown. You expect more there. But you're going to get Bijan back, Brian Thomas if you want him. DJ Moore had a huge game on your bench. Joe Burrow if you want him, and ultimately, and TJ Hawkinson if you want him. A lot of decisions. A lot of decisions. Is one of the deepest teams in the league, and there's a reason they're in the playoffs. Finally, Dust in the Wind. Dust in the Wind does get the win to go to 6-6. Dust in the Wind, I said, is going to be one and done, and this is what it's looking like. 500 team, good, not great. JSN getting a lot better is an upgrade for your team, but I'm going to stay with this being a one-and-done team. I think that's one of my more accurate predictions this year, and it's a bit specific, but I feel good about it. And clearly it's going to be not a bye team. I believe it's going to be a playoff team, and I believe if they do get the playoffs like I predict, that they will lose in the first round to a much stronger team who's going to be in the third seed because there's a lot of really strong teams there. Team Crucifier, really bad week, kills your playoff hopes. Still alive, obviously, but not looking good. I mean, no one showed up for you. Just no one. I think they all agreed before the game, like, let's just not show up. And yeah, Jake Elliott missed the meeting and everyone else was there. So that's it. But again, you get Jamar back, you get Garrett Wilson back, and more things become possible. But is it too late? It's going to be very tough to win. So you look at the standings right now, and it's essentially this. There's 4 teams going for a bye. Team Chef Cesario, El Granas, Electric, and El Professor. Team Chef Cesario clearly has the most points by a mile, and with the best record tied with 2 other teams, is in the driver's seat. I do believe Cesario will get a bye. I think the other bye is so up in the air, I can't even make a prediction, honestly. I can't even make a prediction. It's just so up in the air. But those 4 teams will make the playoffs. Then there's 2 spots going to 5 different teams. I think We Win with Jared has actually a chance, but I think it's going to be too tough. I think the Banditos is going to hold on to it. And Dust in the Wind, I said I think is going to make it be a one and done, but I would not be surprised if Pain Train squeezes in. Pain Train has a slightly better team. So we'll see if they're able to do that. And obviously, we keep the Dun Chains with Untouchables, but we will not touch anyone else with the Dun Chain. So let's see what happens. Anything can happen. I'm nervous. You're nervous. Good luck to everyone next week, and we'll see what happens after Thanksgiving.